hardcorechristianity.com/guides. Well, let's go to David calling in from New Mexico. David, what's your question for Adriel?
Hi, Pastor Adriel. Since we're on the same topic, this question kind of goes along with that same topic, but it's really in relation to a question that was asked of me or some comment that was made to me from a skeptic. We were talking about homosexuality, and this person said basically they don't really see a problem with it because it's also in the animal kingdom. You see this in different various forms in the animal kingdom, homosexuality. And so I was wondering, how might you respond to that?
Yeah. I just think that's a terrible argument, right? We see all sorts of things in the animal kingdom that we would never want to do as human beings made in the image of God. And so when people say, well, look you see this kind of behavior among certain animals, that doesn't that mean that it's natural, that it's okay, that it's right? I would just say, think of all the other things you can think of that we would say, no, that's not right, that's wrong. And there's a clear distinction, we would say, as Christians between us as human beings made in the image of God, called to reflect His goodness, His light, His love, and the rest of the creation, which God has given us dominion over. Genesis chapter 1, Psalm chapter 8. It's very clear. But what's wild about this is sin. It dehumanizes us, truly. It debases us. And it does sort of reduce us to be, the psalmist, Paul in Romans, essentially there's this principle that we become like the things that we worship. You worship blind idols, you're going to become blind, deaf, and dumb, and so forth. And that's part of Paul's argument, too, in Romans chapter 1, where he talks about homosexuality. He says in verse 24, God gave them up in the lusts of their hearts to impurity, to the dishonoring of their bodies among themselves, because they exchanged the truth about God for a lie, and worshipped and served the creature rather than the Creator, who is blessed forever. Amen. For this reason, God gave them up to dishonorable passions. That's what this is. And so that line of reasoning just doesn't work. It's not a strong argument. We're not called to be like the animals. We're called to be like God as His image bearers, to reflect His goodness, His light, His love. And so, this is a big issue right now, right? We just entered into quote unquote Pride Month, and so I'm glad we're able to address this and to have this conversation on the broadcast in particular today, David. And that's how I would respond to this individual. Obviously, maybe just highlighting that's not a good argument when you think about it. So.
Okay, David, we're going to actually send you a copy of that resource we mentioned. It's our free resource on homosexuality.